Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description.
Beautiful move on Ethereum here. Even gave us just a little pause for a couple of days here as we stood atop this trend line here and then continuing to break out there. Somebody asked me about it a few days ago. I said, I really like it, but I did not position in it, but I position in it yet. I do want to take a look at that implied volatility. We can see Bitcoin, Ethereum's leading Bitcoin right now. I mean, Ethereum had a tough time for a little while there as stablecoins competition fired up a little bit. And I think it is now starting to be recognized as that important, smart contract coin that may be adopted in a serious way. And I think Tom Lee doesn't hurt. Starting to get a little bit more of that credibility from folks like that. And so what I did though on IBIT is I put on this vega bailout strategy, which was just basically long a bunch down around 61. And I said, listen, I think this is either going to continue to break out, which was sort of right around here when we started to break out above this little channel. And I said, look, this is my favorite setup. You get super, super low implied volatility, right? This is where you can use long options favorably. As everybody else on the Twitter sphere and YouTube is saying, oh my gosh, the juice is so fantastic. I'm selling options. I'm selling covered calls. No. You're not getting anything. You're not getting enough when option pricing is sitting at super, like look at pricing on MSTR. That does not get me excited about selling covered calls against my stock. And if I look out a little bit further to 70, let's say we go not quite a year out, let's see what we get here. Look at that option pricing, this cheap. So that's where I will sometimes go in and say, listen, this thing has got to make a move. At some point, it's got to make a move. It doesn't, but it's got to make a move at some point. So I go, okay, so I'm going to position in basically what is a strangle, which is basically buying out of the money calls, buying out of the money puts. But you can do it in a more directional fashion by making those calls a little bit closer to where the market's trading. So the calls you buy are a little bit more expensive. They have more delta, more upside exposure. And then you pick up some cheap El Cheapo puts way out here somewhere that can potentially bail you out if this thing goes catastrophically wrong, which is sometimes what you get with a big breakout of everyone believes, and then something happens and the sell-off is catastrophic because so many people got in and the narrative completely changed. So that's where that kind of strategy can really make sense, because you know that you're either going to benefit from your long delta and very, very cheap option pricing, right? So one of the risks as instruments move up, stocks move up, is that they compress option pricing. Well, when it's already super low, it actually has the ability to rise. So when you look at some of those longer term options, you can say, well, look, I think they're very cheap here. And if we do what Bitcoin can potentially do, let's face it, it can, we don't know, but you could get going 150,000, 200, I don't know, anything can happen. And so that's where implied volatility is actually going to rise. If this thing has an explosive move, you are going to see option pricing start to reflect that. So you can benefit from that as well. That's the kind of trade where you can really do well to the upside. The only thing that doesn't work for you is if suddenly we just sit around again. But if it does that, you can always change your mind, and the option pricing is so low that it's probably not going to get hit too hard over the next 3-4 weeks or a month, 3 or 4 weeks, if it does indeed sit around. So that's the vega bailout. You're delta long, you're going to do really, really well. But if it collapses, you're going to have these out of the money puts kick in and the implied volatility is going to rise. So on a big drop, you may not even lose anything. You can see here you're losing a little money, but I'd have to vol shock it. So if I raise this up 6-7 volatility points, you're actually not going to lose any money to the downside. So that's a unique little setup that you can look for when option pricing is very low, when you feel like you're about to get a nice move, but you want a little bit of a protective soldier sitting down here just in case you get it completely wrong.
Which have you done that tactic on?
Oh, all kinds of things. I have it on the IBIT right now, and the timing was good. I had one on MSTR a little while ago. I think I lost small on it because it didn't move quickly enough. I have new MSTR positions on now that are doing great. But that's the thing. You can be completely wrong on direction and maybe not lose any money. If I can be really long into an idea and get it completely wrong and not lose money, that's a nice setup for me.
Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description. Watch the full Options Macro to Micro Power Hour episode by clicking on the video here, and subscribe to LaDucTrading YouTube channel for more content.